Hello and welcome to the 48th PlanetDestiny podcast, or as we were saying at the beginning, the 48.5th. This is the second time we're having to record this podcast because last time Wally's Audacity crashed right when we were done. Lesson learned. We have multiple backup recordings now. Thanks, Wally.
I apologize, man. I feel guilty still to this day. It's probably something I'm never gonna like.
2 whole days later to this day, like ages past.
like every time I go to bed, it's one of those things that just keeps me up. So
Oh, man,
I am sorry, yo.
Bed
I really
twice.
am.
Wow.
I love talking to you guys. This is awesome, I think, for me. But I don't want to waste your time. You know what I mean? You guys are important people. So
We're
important.
That's what I keep telling my kids. They don't believe me.
I keep using it as a pickup line, and it hasn't worked yet. It's like, hey,
that's what it says on my
I'm
business
kind
card.
of famous on the internet.
Did I tell you guys about that Seattle story for PAX?
No.
I talked about it on stream. All right, so long story short, we were at a bar outside the place I was staying, and I was with a couple of guys that was with some of my work colleagues and some of the guys that I'd known for a long time that live in Seattle. And there were a bunch of just, good-looking chicks at the bar. So I went up to the girl, and there was 2 girls. There was this mighty fine Asian chick, and then there was this Caucasian lady. I just went up to him. I'm like, hey, can I try a pickup line on you real quick? And she's like, oh, my God, sure. I'm like, okay. So I'm a pretty big YouTuber. I got about 80K subs. And I was wondering, does that do anything for you? So, but it she didn't believe me. She didn't believe me at first. So I pulled out my phone and I'm like, well, okay, here's my channel, here's my Twitter, and then the Asian chick was touching my chest. So I think it worked.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
So how do you explain Dado then? I mean, he has. Oh, never mind.
Well, has Dado tried it?
I met Dado at PAX, and I told him
when you go to the shows, there's just mad people around him. He's got game.
He is, dude. When I was
Dado.
there,
Have you seen those legs?
I know.
He's big in I think his heart is big. You know what I mean? He doesn't need muscle. He's just a big heart guy. So
There you go.
Well, speaking of the shows that we all go to, PlayStation Experience was, it was a week ago today, I guess.
A week ago. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and before we get into Destiny, I feel like we should talk about some of the other cool shit that we saw there because, as we all know, Destiny is dead. We have nothing to talk about for 2.5 hours. Seriously, though, there were some really fantastic games, and it would be stupid not to talk about them. So, Pope, what did you play while you were there aside from Destiny?
Well, I had marching orders from a friend of mine who's a huge a Hot Shots golf fan. And he had me go over there and check it out for him. And I was like, oh, man, I guess I'll have to. So I went over there, and to my surprise, I really liked it. And I thought it was awesome. It's open world. You can, run around the golf course. And instead of summoning your Sparrow, you summon your golf cart. And it's really it's really family friendly.
Bring a fire team of 4.
Yeah, you can. There's multiplayer. You can play other people, who gets the most holes in the day. You can play links of a whole set of 19 holes. It's awesome, and I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Is we're going to be streaming some hot open world Hot Shots golf.
Oh, you know it, man. I mean, that's what I'm going to be doing.
So
Awesome.
it's an open world golf game.
Yeah, it is.
That's amazing.
I didn't get to play it. I didn't get to see if you can go inside of the. I imagine you can go outside the clubhouse and you can do other stuff. But yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Play anything else?
I played some VR stuff.
We
got a chance.
Both of us, we did.
Yeah, I got a chance to play the what was it? The working one, the Office Space. What was it called?
The office, just office or job simulator.
Office Job Simulator.
Job Simulator.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
they made a VR game about going to the office.
Yeah, it's called Job Simulator.
You're controlled by computers, puny human. You must go do work here. Have a good work day. And and then the computer talks down at you. It's we know you have trouble processing, so this is a list of things you must do. Here is your
So it's basically your boss.
And
Exactly
the
the
funny
same as
thing
having
is
a boss.
that,
I thought it was a robot. I thought it was a robot learning how to do serving coffee and all that. And the demo that I saw online because I wasn't there, but the demo I saw was them. Or he was throwing the coffee across the work office and all that. And
that's
doing
what I ended up doing.
Job.
I mean, there's a reason why I don't work in a cubicle because I was just I was throwing paper airplanes and eating donuts and tossing them across the room.
I don't care if this game gets a 10 out of 10 from every media outlet ever. And if everybody says it's the best game ever made, I will never play this. I will never do it.
It's really funny how you kind of start to feel like the VR gets you in the space. So like when I was grabbing a donut and I was going to eat it, I actually opened my mouth to eat the donut. You know, it's like you feel like you're in the game. Great. So as far as augmented reality goes and just like being in that space, I can see it felt a lot less clunky than I thought it was.
How'd the headset feel? Because that's
the headset was really like comfortable. This
is the Sony headset,
right? Yep. And it's got 2 adjustments. It's got one for the back that kind of fits the crown of your head, and then the goggles, the front part, kind of slides in and out, and there's a shallow window where it stays in focus, but you can really adjust it and it locks in, and it really doesn't, it's really not that cumbersome. And I can see it being, as you know, the technology gets better and the things get less heavy, because it does feel like you have something on your head, it has weight to it.
And it works with PlayStation Move, like those PlayStation Move controllers.
Right. So you've got them in your hands and you've got that thing on your head, and it really, everywhere you look, I mean, it doesn't make you, I thought I get motion sickness. So I thought I was going to get motion sickness playing it, but it would if it lagged, but it doesn't lag. It felt like it was right, smooth, and in motion. So I really enjoyed it. I didn't get to play, I got to do Job Simulator and the car racing game, which I thought was freaking awesome. I could see myself really getting into like a motorcycle game like that, like really
kind of. So you're sitting in the cockpit and you can see like around, like,
and you look around, awesome. And then you look into really the turns.
Cool. Wow.
You can see the people you're racing against, and as you're turning the control, as you're turning the steering wheel, because they had a steering wheel set up for us. You can look into the corner and see where you're going. It just feels really, really, really nice.
I'm looking forward to this. Did this come out in February? Is that right?
The VR?
I know.
Next
they said 2016. I don't think they gave a quarter in 2016.
Right. But Patrick,
I'm looking forward to it.
You got to do a different game, right?
I did Eve Valkyrie, the Starship one where you go around and shoot stuff. It was really awesome. I wear glasses. And I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to take these off. It's gonna be really awkward. And this is the first thing I asked. And he's like, no, you should be good. You use those to see far away, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, wear them. And the whole thing fit right over my glasses. Like it didn't push them up against my face anymore. I didn't have to.
There's like a gap between your face and the headset. Oh, cool.
And yeah, I had to shove the focus thing pretty close to me to get it to focus right, but it felt really natural. Like I thought there was going to be lag when you're looking around, like input lags. Like I look left and then 5 ms later it'll look left. No, it's immediate. That's
apparently the key, right? Is like to minimize the motion sickness, you have to get rid of that lag.
You have to get rid of that lag.
Instantaneous, otherwise it's it's puke city.
Yeah, and the Starfire thing, like I thought I would get motion sick from that, having full 360-degree motion inside there. No, I didn't get sick from that. I did get motion sick from the racing game that Pope played, though.
Oh, really?
It's just something about you expect a certain amount of G-force when you're like going into a turn, and your body's already leaning because it feels like you're there. So you lean into that turn as well, and then you're not feeling that force against your body. So you're just like,
yeah. One of the hardest things about racing games for me, though, and this actually goes, one of my complaints about Sparrow Racing League is kind of attached to this, but I'm not going to get into that. One of my biggest problems with racing games is that if you're in the cockpit view, you expect, if you're taking a left turn, you expect to be able to look left and then start turning and drive your car to where you're looking, but you can't do that in video games. If you have that follow
you
cam,
have to memorize the course way more than you.
Right, you have to memorize where you need to stop turning as opposed to stop turning when you know you're straight. It's weird. It's a disconnect in racing games I think VR will be the fix for.
That's better articulated than I did as to what I really enjoyed about it. It's being able to anticipate the turn and look into it like you would normally do because I used to race bicycles, and that's how you steer a bicycle is you look to where you want to go. You don't look at where you're at. And
Right.
so in motorcycle racing, it's the same thing. You look up into the turn where you're going to be in a few seconds, so that your body will naturally carry you there. So that's really what it felt like. The next leap for me was in realism, is that you felt like you were actually in the moment.
It's also a good solid tip for Sparrow Racing League, by the way.
Look to where you want to go, not where. Yeah, if you stare at the fans and say, "I don't want to hit the fan. I don't want to hit the fan. I don't want to hit the fan," you're going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
Look at the gap.
Yeah.
So I did that on stream to Ginzu. I was like, don't look at the fan. Don't look at the fan. Don't look at the fan. And he was like, I can't stop looking at the fan. And then he hit it.
Don't think about
number
camels.
one.
Don't think about camels. Don't think about camels.
People don't understand that's essentially the biggest tip for hand-eye coordination with anything. Is your mind does a billion calculations a second. It's the fastest supercomputer in the world. I've gotten myself out of some pretty hairy situations in racing by just throwing my eyes and forcing myself to look away. And then my body does all the fine motor skill attached.
It's how I get sick no scopes. I imagine where your head is going to be, and then it shows up there. Exactly the same.
Don't shoot it where the head is. Shoot it where it's going to be.
Shoot it
That's
where
right.
it's going to be. Nice.
And there was one other game that I played, or actually two other games I played there that I feel like I should say before we move on to actual Destiny stuff. Death's Gambit, if you guys like pixel art, plus like Castlevania 2D side-scrolling games, and then with the actual game mechanics of Dark Souls or Bloodborne.
Oof.
Oh my! It's a lot to
Sounds
take
very
in.
exciting.
It was so much fun. It felt so difficult, but it was so rewarding once you actually killed something. And I got the boss down to like maybe like 10-15%. But I didn't want to invest that extra time. I wanted other people to play there as well.
So it's 2D Castlevania type of game?
Yeah, 2D Castlevania type of game.
It's got like the difficulty and mechanics of
the exact
Dark Souls?
game mechanics of Dark Souls.
Wow,
Exact game
that sounds
mechanics.
pretty cool.
It was really, really fun. I cannot wait. They don't. I think Adult Swim is going to be publishing it. Yeah, and it's done by White Rabbit Games. So check them out if that sounds at all interesting to you. I'll be trying to stream it whenever the hell it actually comes out.
That sounds awesome.
And then there's another one, Assault Android Cactus. It's inane, but this is a game.
Has to be another Adult Swim game.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a pretty fun, cutesy type game. Like you play this little android girl who's an assault android, and she has some big guns and goes and kills stuff. But it's a top-down 2D co-op arcade style shooter that is designed to be done like with another person sitting with you on the couch. And I don't know if there's going to be online co-op, but there was definitely a local co-op for it. It was just stupid fun. It was a stupidly fun game to play with your friends. That I think it had a lot of replay value there too, because there were a lot of different. There was a story campaign mission, there was an endless wave mission, and then there was a boss battle. Like imagine Prison of Elders, where you go in there and it would like spawn in sepics. It would just keep spawning in bosses, and you would have to kill them in that particular arena. It was a really fun game. So those were the games that I played that I enjoyed while at PlayStation Experience. The other game that we played there was Sparrow Racing in Destiny.
So before we talk about Sparrow Racing, I think we should talk about the announcement of Sparrow Racing.
Yes, we should.
Because I think it, regardless of what they announced, if it wasn't DLC, I think there was going to be massive disappointment in the community. And there was massive disappointment in the community because we didn't get to see the next DLC or the next big update for Destiny. The next big thing, the next Dark Below update. Or the next Dark Below or House of Wolves type, event. We didn't get that, and that's I think what a lot of people were expecting, including me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to be honest with you. I was expecting not a DLC per se. I was expecting to have some sort of custom games type PvP specific update to the game that would have given us like some ability to create content to give us an opportunity to provide the community with, our like not forge mode per se, but at least, custom game modes so that we could share them out to the community. I thought that that's the direction simply because Derek Carroll, who oversees Trials of Osiris, was involved with the Sparrow Racing League. So I thought that that's the direction they were going to be going.
Yeah, when I saw that Derek was going to be there, I'm like, oh, there's going to be some big PvP release. Oh, maybe it'll be like competitive. Maybe it'll be custom games. Oh shit, that would be awesome. And it said, Sparrow Racing. Not gonna dog on Sparrow Racing just yet, but but yeah, we were.
If you think about it, though, it is PvP.
It is PvP.
And it is custom games.
It's not custom game in the sense that we get to customize it. Bungie customize it.
Well, it's private games.
Yeah.
Because you can bring all 6 people in with you.
Yeah. Well, I was watching a Twitter chat and everyone was like, okay, is this all? Is this all? And then the other bad thing about it was that a lot of people ended up thinking that it was going to be PlayStation exclusive because half of the announcement is like, okay, here's Sparrow Racing League, and then the rest of the time is about the PlayStation exclusives that Destiny is going to be getting. So Sparrow Racing League the message kind of got crossed into that. They thought it was going to be PlayStation exclusive game mode. So
a lot of
it was tough. Yeah. It was a tough announcement, I think, for me and for a bunch of the community guys who desperately wanted new content for their channels and for to play and to talk about. And I know that Sparrow Racing gave us that, but we needed, I think we were all expecting something a little bit more substantial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also just 2 maps. I mean, they said 2 maps. You're going to be able to race on 2 maps. I was like, for 3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 whole
maps?
weeks, 2 maps? What?
Even a dedicated racing game, I'm not going to be interested on just 2 maps. And if the racing mechanics are phenomenal, it's not going to satisfy me.
No.
Well, it's because it's a demo. That's why.
Yeah.
You're looking at them. They even said, pretty sure that they're testing out the platform.
Yeah, but they didn't really pitch it though as a full-on demo.
Yeah,
they didn't say like, "Hey, this is a demo, guys."
But they're never going to do that to some respect, because Bungie are marketing experts. The overhype on a lot of the content is real. I mean, most people bought into the fact that there was going to be a major DLC release at PSX. Now, just from a marketing standpoint alone, I figured that wasn't going to happen because it's an exclusive PlayStation event. You're talking about missing out on half your demographic in terms of an announcement. Doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the relationship of Sony and Activision, you're not going to release a DLC announcement at a PlayStation exclusive event where majority of your Xbox demographic, regardless of how small, is not going to be watching. It just doesn't make sense. They have to hit those ROI points, and cutting 50% or 30% of your player base, just didn't make sense to me. So I wasn't expecting anything at all. And if they were going to release anything big, they should have done it around holiday, not post-holiday. They should have done it in November, not in December.
You mean announce something?
Yeah, announce something and then maybe say it comes out December 19th.
Well, I think that they didn't announce it in November as an indication of their strength of it, their thought process. I mean, if they thought they could compete with what came out in November,
Fallout,
everything.
4, Rainbow Siege.
You would have been murdered unless they
big games came out that were total flops because there's so much competition. Like Tomb Raider is a great game, and it just it didn't sell at all.
November was not a good time for Destiny to release anything, in my opinion, unless they felt
not even news.
Yeah, unless they felt like it was strong enough to hold up against what was already out there.
Hold up. You don't even think bring some news out?
Nope.
I mean, the biggest problem with the Sparrow announcement is the fact that they didn't give us any kind of inclination of what's coming in the future. They're like, guys,
I think the timing
I know
was
you want
perfect.
some stuff, and check it out, Sparrow Racing. And then we're like,
I totally think the timing was perfect. It was the announcement.
Yeah, the timing was perfect. They had the world's attention. I mean, they had the attention. The PSX, it was great timing, lots of anticipation. Just just not what we were expecting. That's all.
The timing may have been good in terms of when they wanted to launch something, post marketing in terms of the big AAAs. But the timing in terms of what event they launched it at was poor, I think. You don't, or it would be very much more clear, release on social media immediately after saying, this is not a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let players know immediately so you don't run into
So at this point in the week, everyone out there that is currently playing Destiny has probably played Sparrow Racing in some form or fashion. So what did you guys actually think of the racing game mode itself?
Yo, I kind of love it. It's really fun. I know it's only 2 maps. I know it's got major problems and it's not very deep. but I played it a lot and I'm having fun, especially when I get a whole, like a 6-man team in there and we're just trash talking and bumping into each other and trying to like cut corners to make other people go into the wall. It's fun.
I like the.
I'm not gonna lie.
I like the adjustments that they made to the Sparrows. I think they operate much more, fluidly. They definitely made some adjustments based on performance, with allowing the Sparrows to be, like down on the thumbsticks, boost left and right. There's just some additional thought consideration to like some armor pieces that help with performance.
I'm having fun with it. If it was longer than 3 weeks, I'd probably really start complaining about it after 3 weeks, saying this is not a finished game mode. I didn't buy a racing game. I bought a shooter, but I'm kind of having fun with it. I'll be honest.
To be fair, it's not a finished game mode.
It's not a finished game mode. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
The biggest problem I have with it is it's not free.
It is free to anybody who bought the Taken King. Anybody who owns the Taken King can play Sparrow Racing with no money invested.
But to get the full experience, it's not free.
What do you consider the full experience?
The Sparrow Racing book, for one, you have to buy that, or
Well, that was free for 2 days.
Yeah, okay, but that wasn't their intention. You know what I mean? Like a glitch in the system is not their intention. So if the live team is using the information or the metrics they're tracking for a successive event by microtransactions, that's bad news for the community. That really is, because it means that purchases are going to dictate the future more so than, hey, we want to get out good content to the community.
Yeah, wouldn't the purchasing power be the case of what they're going to put out regardless of that?
I would say, say for example, Sparrow Racing is a completely successful event, right? But no one buys into microtransactions. Well, they have to go back and now dictate to their team saying, well, why do we go through this event again if no one bought into it?
Here's the other thing too, is that it is free. You don't have to buy any of those microtransactions. You can jump into it with having. If you own the Taken King, you can jump into it with your friends and play Sparrow Racing. The only thing you got to pay for is if you want the rewards. That's what you're paying for. You're not paying for the game mode. You're not paying for Sparrow
rewards. You get rewards, and you get drops that are up to 320.
So let me clarify this real quick. All right, I think to a certain respect, we can all agree that Destiny marketed itself, at least in vanilla, off the ability for you to be a unique individual in the community, right? Like you were a unique character. Like no one was going to look like you.
Be legend.
You were a legend, right? Mm-hmm. And then when vanilla came out, everyone looked the same because everyone dropped Atheon or everyone in Iron Banner. And it's since changed now that everyone's a little bit more different. Round with Taken King, I would say I don't see carbon copies anymore at all. I'd say it's very difficult at a certain respect to find that, thanks to the infusion system. The problem I have is that a good majority of Destiny's gear, whenever DLC comes out, is reskin of past gear, minus some of the 3 or 4 new sets that they drop in with the raid and the PvE and the PvP set. The faction sets are reskins of vanilla and 2 DLCs. That's a huge problem. And then when you go in with cosmetic gear that you lock in a way behind paid content, and you're marketing a game off a unique experience where you can be unique and you have to pay for that in a game that's already content lacking, I have a hard time swallowing.
Yeah, but you can still get those drops though from just playing the racing mode.
But you have to put in. You're talking about you as a hardcore player will buy into that. I will buy into that because we want to have jobs doing this to a certain respect, and we enjoy the game. The casual player base though doesn't have the time to spend. They're weekend warriors. They literally only get on to play on the weekend, and they may want that gear, but they have to justify, well, I got to put X amount of hours in to get those RNG drops because they are very much RNG, or buy into it. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that, again, I think the bigger issue, really, and the reason I have such a hard time with it, is the fact that it has such a vibrant microtransaction area, but it's so lacking in content. 2 maps, so much microtransaction stuff. Doesn't
really,
make any sense.
You think there's a lot of microtransactions in this game already?
I think for Sparrow Racing League, yeah. You have the Sparrow Racing book, then you have a racer's toolkit, then you have an emote thing that comes with a horn or something, a shader. I don't know. There's a blue one too with it. Mm-hmm. I just feel like the more and more they put that in there, yeah, they got to fund year 2 content with it, and I get that to a certain respect, right? I want to see content. I think we all do. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to see it become...
It comes back to that point, though. Would you rather pay $5 or $10 for Sparrow Racing and have all of it, or not have access to it at all?
I can't value 2 maps at $10.
That's
man.
why.
That's like a DLC.
I don't know. I can totally see where you're coming from here, but I also feel like if you want new content to get developed, the money for that has to come from somewhere. This is a nice way of doing it because it keeps the whole player base together. Everybody who has Taken King can play Sparrow Racing League Festival of the Lost. Those people who want a little bit more can pay for it, but we don't ever have a problem where the Dark Below comes out and vanilla Destiny players are just left in the dark.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
they can't play Nightfalls, they can't play they can't play that. Everybody can play Sparrow Racing League right now, and some people are paying for it, other people aren't.
Yeah, and if it was behind a paywall, then you wouldn't be able to jump out of your raid. Let's say you're streaming and you have 6 people with you, and you jump out of your raid and like, hey, let's go Sparrow Race. Oh, I didn't buy the DLC content, or 3 of them didn't buy it.
Yeah,
so they can't do that.
Right.
That creates an immediate separation. So you gotta pick some sort of poison. Like the company Bungie has to make money at some point, so there's going to be some sort of poison that you got to drink. You got to pick it.
I like this kind of community type Festival of the Lost, and I like Sparrow Racing, and I like that kind of concept of community based events, and I'm willing to support that and play it and have fun with my friends, completely separate than whatever the DLCs are and the story and the original disc and the $60. I know somebody right now is typing into the YouTube chat that right now, like, wow, I already paid for this. I like this concept of having community-based events, and I'm willing to pay
I like
for
it too, Pope, but I gotta say I was incredibly disappointed when I didn't see
Briar.
new DLC
No
announced.
doubt.
I was incredibly disappointed.
No doubt. You and I were...
I was really hoping for new DLC.
No, me too. I was super excited
I think everybody
for
was.
DLC.
Maybe a trailer or something.
I feel like we should move into like the weekly update, and at least this portion of the weekly update.
So this is from Irk. He actually, I feel like they were kind of on their heels. They kind of like, okay, we didn't expect this negative backlash. So they came out and they said the first of these early 2016 experiences will be on a scale close to Festival of the Lost. The second will be far larger than anything you've seen since the release of Taken King, including Sparrow Racing. There's also another, I added that part. There's also another significant update to the world and sandbox planned in the same window.
3 updates.
It sounds like a DLC, like Dark Below.
Mm-hmm.
Minus a raid.
That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like it, but like again, I don't want to get that far, man. There's a lot of hype going around the community that it may sound like a DLC, but it isn't because we don't know, and that's the biggest.
We don't know.
Well, that's Bungie's main problem with this entire field right now. Because year 1, we knew what to look for, Dark Below, then a second DLC, which came House of Wolves, and then immediately right after House of Wolves, it was boom, Taken King is going to come out in 3 months, and we're like, holy crap, there's so much excitement to look forward to, even while there's some mundane things happening in Destiny, and then now we're in the stage where we just are hoping. We're like crossing our fingers and hoping that there's something great.
And Bungie is in a bed of their own making here because they set our expectations in year 1.
Yep.
Like they set it right off the bat. Like you buy Destiny, you can expect DLC in December and then another DLC later in the year, and you expect a trend like that to continue, and it clearly is not going to continue.
Well, they
not in the way that we know it.
Briar. They couldn't sustain.
That's not my problem.
I know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that I think that they realized that model was unsustainable and they had to change.
Right. They're probably going to keep having to grow to put out that much content. That's that it does take a very long time to properly develop these things. I'm not gonna shit on the guys that made Dark Below. But let's be honest, that raid, while it was fun for a very brief amount of time, it did not have a lot of replayability.
It wasn't as bad as I think some people say. It was very
well,
different than Vault of Glass. I think Vault of Glass set really high expectations. It was fun.
I don't think any of the content is unfun.
No.
You know what I mean? I don't think any of the content being released is unfun. I think the metrics we should track the content for is the amount of it, not how fun it is. I think we all...
I think Skull's Skull's not fun.
But to some people, the whole PoE experience was semi-enjoyable. The ability to go in with your friends and varying difficulty challenges. I don't think that it had, again, I think that's where the replayability didn't come in. Once you did it once, it was kind of like done.
And and it feels like they're missing some marks here to make it like Prison of Elders. If they'd given us an opportunity to do a challenge mode, just give us another option for setting your own, no rewards, private mode, right? private lobby, no rewards, and you could challenge yourself to have all the modifiers for the Nightfall on, make it rockets only, infinite supers. I mean, things like that would have been fun in Prison of Elders, because you could have gone in there with your friends, streamed it online, and had infinite snipers and grenades, right? And then just try to beat the Prison of Elders. I think they missed some opportunities to make some more replayability to that content.
You do have a piece of nostalgia for a lot of the year one players and beta and alpha players, so on, that missed the original pieces of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
What made it unique to them was, being able to do VOG, that long drawn out experience. Mechanically, it wasn't necessarily as challenging as, say, Oryx is today, right? But it still was one of those experiences that was just incredibly enjoyable to you and your friends. And, Dark Below, maybe not, right? Oryx, definitely. I think everyone really had a good time with the mechanics on Oryx. But it's like, you have all of this content in the game that already exists. I think that trying to make some of the old stuff replayable would help this lull period of live team content to some respect.
I agree. I'd love to see him revisit the old stuff and try and make it relevant somehow. I don't know how to do that.
Right.
What do you mean, make it relevant? Because
there's no reason to go back.
You can still
do it, but there's no reason to do it as far as progressing your character.
You have no gear. There's no gear incentive.
The only reason to do it is for funsies.
Not necessarily.
I think they actually did a good job with the Vault of Glass with the No Time to Explain. They brought the brought the Vault of Glass back for the No Time to Explain. You had to go kill Atheon to get that gun. There were a lot of people that I helped go get that gun who had never done Vault of Glass. So I think that was actually a brilliant move.
I meant that content in terms of actual progression. I feel like it should die. I mean, the Vault of Glass thing, you're revisiting it to get a current level gun. Yes. But in terms of fully progressing your character, it needs to stop at some point.
But as community members, we have an obligation to not just point out the problem points, but also offer solutions. You know, I don't think to a certain point that the group of us is so full of ourselves that we know how to make the future of Destiny better. But I think to some respect, we all have experience with different MMOs, and we do get some community feedback in terms of what they want to see. I think the community would clamor at the ability to go back to VOG. Definitely. Not necessarily to get 320 gear. I don't think that is the case, because obviously the content is not comparable. But maybe you get, a legendary engram at the end of the run, or each boss has the ability to drop a random legendary engram or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not going to harm progression. If anything, it's just going to be hey, there's my incentive to go back.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty decent idea, because then I never got to do Vault of Glass, and it's well, I can go help you. And as much as we can all, hold hands and everything, you kind of want something to show for, at the end of the run.
Oh, for sure.
You want to feel like your time is worthwhile, even though helping people is really awesome. It's really awesome to say, hey, I helped this guy and I got this legendary engram that'll probably decrypt into another damn Havoc pigeon. But still,
Yeah,
if every one of those ultra bosses did that, if every time you killed the Templar and there was a 50-50 chance of getting a legendary engram, that would be awesome. That would be worth doing. It would also be great if they just introduced some sort of challenge to it, so you could maybe get an emblem. So that's I don't think that would be too difficult for the coding on that to be hey, you kill them like this, then you get an emblem that we designed specifically for this. Here's that extra content.
Or if they wanted to bring the Vex Mythoclast back.
Yeah.
320, they can make you earn it through
the
My goal would be to have their time and energy spent on new content. That's what my goal would be.
Yeah, I would ultimately agree with you, yes.
So if that's possible...
There's a live team, though. There's a live team, and I'm pretty sure the live team could go in and be hey, here's legendary engrams now from those ultras.
I agree with you, Brett. Tefty, that's a good...
That's a good use of live team, yeah.
It's a good use of the live team. I completely
agree.
But
I think the live team is somewhat of a fallacy. I mean, when they brought out Sparrow Racing, it wasn't just the live team that brought out Sparrow Racing. It was the Crucible team. It was...
No. Okay, hold on. I'm going to take a second to plug the podcast that we recorded while we were at PlayStation Experience, because everyone should go watch that. If you haven't already, we got to talk to Derek Carroll and Jerry Hook, who were... Jerry Hook is the project lead of the live team, I think. Is that it?
Yeah, he's the big the head guy.
The head honcho of the live team. And then Derek Carroll was one of the guys that worked on Sparrow Racing. Now, when Bungie is working on stuff, it's not just I am a guy that is working on X. It's not just 0-1 sums. It's Derek Carroll is working on. He was working on that. He was working on Trials of Osiris. He was working on stuff that he probably can't even talk to us about. All the team members are working on lots of different things. The Sparrow Racing thing was initially kind of concepted in a hackathon, which is a 2-day event that they run. That was around, I want to say, beginning House of Wolves-ish time, I think. Then that's when they realized hey, looks like we might be able to do this. The community has really been wanting it, and that was around the time they were building their live team too. So they started working on that, and then I believe the quote was, "We had to get, I think, a world designer, and then one of the sandbox designers to help with the project. Not like reallocate them, move them over here to work on this. It's like, hey, you're working on this stuff now as well." So it's not a you're working on this and only this. Everyone's working on lots of different stuff there. I just feel I needed to clarify that.
But to a certain respect, there is a bit of overlap in terms of they may have to pull one guy for a day or something, or maybe a week to get matchmaking.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that, we all want new content, and I want them to focus on new content, right? But if they really want their game to survive to the 10-year lifespan that they've, sort of projected upon us, it has to be one of those things that they have to be very critical about how they currently manage content and their dev cycle. And if it's not sustainable now, it's not going to be sustainable 4 years from now. And it's something they have to look at immediately. For the AAA title and for the pedestal that Destiny is put on by a lot of people in this community, outside of the community, a lot of people that like to hate on it, I think that this game needs to have the playability in terms of, yes, we're getting Iron Banner Trials, great. We're also getting Sparrow Races and Festival of Lost. And then in January, we're getting a huge DLC.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what it should be.
I don't think anybody in the community would argue with that.
I have a hunch, and I don't know if you guys agree with this. I can't remember if you did or not from when I asked it. But whether or not they're waiting for Destiny 2 to drop to then drop last gen, so the development cycle is maybe easier. Because right now they have to compile 4 separate code bases that then get sent off for updates to Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. So do you think it's possible that once they get through year 2, which might be like a growing pain for them because they have to make it to Destiny 2, revamp the process of the way that they build these DLCs, and then have a different perspective post Destiny 2 to being able to release this content? Because maybe they're just in that growing pain phase where it's just there's not enough time right now to do all this.
Right. Well, I mean, I think there's a good portion of the community that still plays in the last gen. Like, I did a video specifically about this that had like sort of a clickbaity title, but I agree. The last gen hardware itself is like 8+ years old.
10.
Okay, even worse. You know what I mean? Like, the idea that you want to make a game for the current generation consoles, which already have like 4-year-old hardware in terms of like modern day stuff in there, and you want to make that have the capability and processing power of the universe that they want to portray upon us as players. Yeah,
it's same
just
experience.
Not the experience. It's not possible when you're trying to develop and make it so that if you buy it on the 360 version and you want to go to the Xbox version, there's not much different between the two.
It makes sense that they'll do it this time too, because you look at the adoption rate of the PS4 and the Xbox One, and they're off the chart. Like, there's the fastest selling consoles like ever. Like, they're that good. Like, that as far as like
it's
selling
not
goes.
A question of do you think they will? It's they will.
I mean, it was a question of do you think they will? If these two consoles hadn't sold as fast as they had, if the adoption rate wasn't as fast, it would be very hard for Bungie to not develop Destiny 2 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. But because these consoles are getting adopted so fast, I think that's a much easier decision.
Destiny's biggest competitor next year in terms of scope and universe playability is going to be The Division.
The style of game that The Division is in is incredibly addicting to play. It's kind of akin to Arma or DayZ. If DayZ was just a mod for Arma, but it feels very akin to those from what I've heard.
It's like Watch Dogs and
Watch Dogs and DayZ, and that piqued my interest right there. because DayZ was a game that I got that game was more addicting than WoW to me.
The bottom line concern is not necessarily how well the Division is going to do, but I think it's the concern for the future of Destiny.
Yes,
so
yes.
you know,
Well,
you
that's
know what
why
I mean?
that's why I think
that's my
that year
fear.
2 is a growing pain for them, and they're trying to figure out how to handle these like explosive responses that they're getting right now, because that they need to deliver more content, but they also have a problem with handling last gen and had not being staffed enough to meet the demands for all the DLC.
Well, you know, it's one of those things that we talked about it in the Phantom podcast, where it would be really dope if the community sort of came together and presented like a long list of ideas that we think should be implemented in some time in Destiny's future, whether it be the 10-year future or you know, the 5-year future or whatever. This is already kind of being done. You know, everyone wants private matches, maybe some type of Forge mode.
Yeah, we talked about
too.
Forge World in that Phantom podcast, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but there's, you know, that right there is you know, I think the big concern is replayability and content. You offer a sandbox experience in terms of you can build whatever you want.
Yeah.
That alone right there is enough to keep me, like a crafting system for me. I think we talked about this. Yeah, a crafting system would keep me playing. You know, the ability to craft gear, have different professions and stuff like that. And I think some people don't want it to become like another cookie cutter MMO. But there's nothing wrong with cherry picking from like great MMO ideas and putting it into the game that we all
Put
love.
in a system that they had in WoW where it's like I want to specialize in this, and that's what my loot drops will be. I'm tired of getting sidearms. I'm tired of getting sidearms. I'm tired of getting fusion rifles. I'm tired of getting the Diluvian 10/X machine gun. I want a sniper rifle. Give me a sniper rifle. Make it so I can be like, hey, I want to spec into sniper rifles, and then my loot drops are going to be like, hey, this guy wants sniper rifles, so we're going to weigh it more heavily towards sniper rifles. Because I got 1,000 yard stare the other day. Finally, it's taken how long has it been since September 9th or whatever that this game came out? 4 months now or something. Okay,
Right.
Yeah, it's taken that long for me to get another 1,000 yard stare.
I heard there was a great perk drop on that
Oh
too,
yeah,
right?
it's the exact
Fantastic.
same. Exact same. Except it has Army of One instead of Last Man Standing, and Last Man Standing is
Look out.
way better. So awesome.
Do you think they'll bring back, you know, on that point, right? Do you think they'll bring back Reforge? Yeah, Reforge. Do you think they'll bring
No.
that back? I think they thought that was a mistake.
I think it should be brought in for armor. I really do think it should be brought in.
I'd be good with that.
You know what? No,
They did it with
the big
exotic
problem that
armor.
was. The biggest problem that they had with that is the entry level to re-roll
Yeah.
was way too low. You need to
Oh,
actually
okay.
be able to like bleed a little bit if you're going to re-roll your legendaries.
I'm not gonna lie.
'Cause
No. The reforging system, it was pretty hefty. Like I know we as people that have a ton of material saved up, it's not really a problem. But for a lot of the community out there that I heard, people were going, I used all of my motes, or I used all my motes to try to get the roll. I didn't get it. I need to go farm motes again. What's the best way to farm motes? Or I'm completely out of weapon parts now. Like that's where that weapon part drop
farming did
started.
become a thing again for House of Wolves.
Yeah.
Where you hadn't seen any videos about farming since like vanilla Destiny. All of a sudden, House of Wolves, you start seeing these things pop up.
but-
You're like, why is everybody farming?
I kept seeing
Oh.
requests for I need a new loot cave type thing so I can farm
Yeah.
weapon parts.
Oh yeah.
Thing is, though, it was still accessible, and it was like
It was.
farmed for an afternoon. You could do some re-rolls and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
If they made it so you had to sacrifice a legendary every time you re-rolled,
Ouch.
then
That's too
Yeah.
hefty. That's too hefty.
Yeah,
hefty.
you gotta.
would it though?
That's too
Would it be
hefty.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it broke the system though. We all felt like House of Wolves was broken when Reforging was there. Everybody had the
I did feel like
exact
it was
same
broken.
sniper
Everybody
rifle.
had the best possible rolls on every weapon.
Yeah, so if you actually had to sacrifice a legendary every time, I think that would not be the case. It would be
Maybe if
like,
you
Well,
were legendary and I could pick which perk that I was getting. Oh, the thing is with weapons and reforging is you're going to get the exact weapon that you want, therefore negating any other weapon that you get after that as a drop. It's no longer exciting.
Mhm.
Right.
I'm sure
That's
we
the
can,
fun thing, right? Is it's exciting. Every time you see a sniper drop, you're like, ooh, is it going to have like that perfect roll?
Okay, I got it. This is what it should be. You put in 2 rare sniper rifles and a legendary sniper rifle, and it gives you a sniper rifle randomly rolled of some sort that's in the game that can roll. There it is.
Nope, still hate
So
it.
you could take
Still hate it.
but you could take your garbage 1,000 yard stare that you got, well, it's not garbage, but the direct copy, put in 2 rare snipers and hope to get another 1,000-yard stare back.
Well, I think to a
you
certain
could have it,
respect
could
here, their reforge system was replaced by the weaponsmith that now you can buy weapons, right?
Yes,
your weapon orders, and that was like kind of the replacement.
That's true.
I still think I agree. I'd like to see armor reforging. It sort of exists on exotics.
Yeah,
You know?
well, yeah.
Like
The thing with
Well,
armor
it's
buy the
reforging
blue
is that
strands.
it feels more like I am going to customize my character because I like these specific things. I like grenade throw, or grenade throw distance with sniper rifle reload on gloves because I mainly use a sniper. On my helm,
Right.
I want, I actually don't usually give a shit what's on my helm, but for the other things, I want increased sniper ammo so I can really fit into that. Or I want to be my raid set. I'm going to have more primary weapon ammo, so I'm going to have like reload gloves, hand cannon, and then some heavy ammo on my legs, so you can really customize yourself. Right now, it's just up to the RNG system, which let's face it, is horrible for some of us.
Brutal.
Well, it's I think it's bad in the respect too that the best gear in the game is still typically like raid gear.
Yeah.
Right, and there's no guarantee that raid gear drops anyway, unless you're doing 3 challenge mode, and then there is a guarantee, but there's no guarantee you get the gloves that you want that have hand cannon reroll or anything like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the whole you can customize your character, right?
It just takes a long time and luck.
Yeah,
The more you want to customize, it's the more time you got to put in. Because you got to get those RNG drops. I think the RNG system is great in some respects, but I think that they should adopt some kind of different system. For raids,
Overall,
for rewards.
it's not friendly to the casual player. RNG is just sheer brute force at this point. Why every YouTuber
I play a
got lots
ton.
of good
I
stuff.
do the raid 3 times a week every week, and I still haven't gotten a hard mode helmet. I mean, I play a ton, and I think it's difficult.
I haven't gotten the Doom of Celsius yet for the raid at all.
Yeah.
I got the hand cannon the other day. I was like, oh, cool, got the hand cannon. Dismantle.
Dismantle, yeah.
Zala's
Bane.
Bane.
Zala's
or
Bane.
whatever it's
I
called.
shot it once. And I said, nope. That reload is one of the worst things I've ever
Oh,
seen.
it's brutal. Cool
It's
looking.
cool though. You know
Yeah,
what
it
I
is
mean?
cool
It's
looking.
a cool.
Oh yeah, it
hand
looks
cannon.
awesome. It looks awesome. So it's gonna look really cool when I'm reloading it in front of an enemy that's pelting me with whatever, and I die.
No, they'd stop. They'd stop to admire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Damn, that
Hey,
is-
sweet
that
hand
is
cannon,
dope.
bro.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool.
Keep
Doing on
shooting
it.
It
me,
opens
Animation
from the
you're
middle,
doing there.
man. That's
Keep
neat.
shooting me, man. I just want to feel that beauty.
Is that the Drake's Promise? Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no! Ooh, no, that one actually hits me that one hurts me if you actually had ammo in it. My bad.
Yeah, and again, the biggest problem is that it goes to when it was announced at PSX, saying,
Right.
"Guys, you're starved for content, and guess what? You get to race your sparrows
On
Like,
2
what?
different tracks, not one.
Oh my
It's
god,
2.
2 different tracks!
It-
What am I
it's a
gonna do with myself,
distraction,
dude?
man.
Look at these
December. Oh my
different
God.
colored sparrows we have.
And look at your Tron-like suits that you can put on now. Oh my god!
Dude,
Hey,
I look
how about
pretty fly
those?
in that suit, I gotta be
How
honest.
about those legendary marks though?
Oh yeah, dude. I'm
Right?
swimming
Oh,
in
yeah.
legendary marks.
You
It's
play-
fantastic.
Yeah.
Sparrow Racing drops like legendary helmets left and right.
Play
and
10 games, get about probably about 15.
It doesn't matter.
And exotic engrams.
Oh god,
Holy
you
cow.
just sitting there.
Holy
And,
cow.
I filled up. I've been playing Sparrow Racing just to get the legendary marks and going back and buying them.
Yeah,
I've been
I think it's a great.
I've been
addition,
popping
though.
3
Great
of coins
points.
during the Sparrow races. It's like a 5-minute race. It's a really fast way to get exotics. I got 9 exotics in like the last 2 days.
yeah.
That's a great use. It makes sense too because in PvE you can do it. Why not do the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that the best way to do that would be to, if you killed somebody out of their super, then it could possibly drop an exotic.
An
you know,
exotic?
but that they probably didn't figure an easy way of coding that. But
It takes it from them. It takes that exotic
like
from
if
them.
if they're
This
wearing
is
an
mine
exotic,
now.
it deletes it.
Your immolation fists, you don't have those
Nope.
anymore.
I would have
They're
agreed
now
with
mine.
you if that was the case when Thorn was still a thing.
Oh god.
Oh god, yeah. You lost the right to use.
It would
Thorn.
be on a
You know what I
cooldown.
mean?
Thorns on cooldown.
So-
Oh my god!
I do want to kind of move away from the Sparrow, what we're currently talking about, because the weekly update did have some other stuff in it. This is the first week that we got to really experience the new patch that dropped in, and as a forewarning, we will be discussing the weapon stuff, but a little bit later, because I feel like we have been doing about an hour and change right now of just dogging on Destiny. So there are some things that were really awesome. Say, want to start with like the new exotic weapons that we
Yeah.
and by new I mean
Dragon's-
year 2 versions of
Breath?
year 1 weapons.
They're super fun. Dragon's Breath feels like a brand new weapon. It looks like an old weapon, but it doesn't really do anything similar to the year 1 version of Dragon's Breath. It's got this new napalm canister. Like, you hold down the trigger when you fire it, and then when you release the trigger, it drops this napalm canister that just like sets the world ablaze. It is so awesome. Like, it's not a solar flare like you're used to.
No.
It is the flames of hell coming to destroy your enemies.
And
It's
and
awesome.
when it detonates, if you're close by, you can actually hear a deep dragon's growl or roar.
And you can play with it. You can bounce the rocket off of walls, but you can also bounce that canister off of walls. So it's really fun to play with. Patrick, you're kind of saying it's not that powerful, which I agree with.
Okay,
but it's super fun to use.
Yeah, because it isn't that powerful. It really isn't.
It's not. Yeah.
There was a group of people that did the daughters fight in King's Fall. All 6 of them had Dragon's Breath from.
That must have looked awesome.
From three. Yeah, no, that's what they said. Like they were from 3.5 to 3.15 in light level for that exotic. I think at the end of it, after they all depleted their ammo, she was still at like half health. But then at the very end, they're like, well, at least this looks awesome.
It does look awesome.
It looks awesome. The flames look fantastic. This is one of the exotics that really feels like a unique exotic, similar to kind of like Telesto and stuff like that. It has this certain feel, a certain archetype. Pope, you said this is what you kind of imagined originally when it was like World War II style thing, dropping a napalm canister or something like that. What we're really thinking of is when the Black Spindle mission comes around, this thing is going to decimate that mission. It's going to be
Get
really
3
nice.
people with that thing going in there. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That would be fun. It's fun though. It's a fun gun to use.
I agree.
It really is.
I agree.
Everybody's hating on the Meta multi-tool, right? Nobody's liking that.
Oh yeah,
No, not at all.
That's
It's-
trash gun.
Yeah, garbage.
Seriously,
That's
though,
all I
But
see in
they didn't-
trials now. Everybody's using it.
everyone's using.
They didn't
I don't
change it
want
though,
to
right?
be leveling one up on the Xbox One right now at all. It's not what I'm doing at all right now.
It's last word in Mida. Last word.
I didn't just join you, dude, on Venus.
No,
Your patrol.
there wasn't
I'm
a
not-
soul on this joint me. That's
I'm
not
there
at all.
either, you know what I mean? But they didn't change it, right? So the meta is
completely
just the year
unchanged.
2 version.
Completely unchanged.
Right.
Right.
Which is
Well,
exactly.
But
what
I don't think that
happened.
weapon didn't necessarily need to change.
No, it
right?
No, it didn't.
It was perfect the way it was. If they,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt like if they changed anything, it would have messed with what made it really good.
It feels stronger in regard to other weapons right now than it has in the
Yeah.
past.
And we'll get into those changes in a little bit.
Right.
There is let's see what else. Hard light got brought in. It had a few changes. I didn't really notice the changes.
Has anybody been playing with hard light on this trials
I haven't
map?
touched
Because
it
I
yet.
feel like it
I
could
had one
be
person.
pretty fun to use.
I had one person, and it was scary. It was scary to go up against
Yeah.
it because all of a sudden you'd see just stuff come around the corner. You're like, oh Jesus, oh
Yeah.
God, no.
Shit's bouncing everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. It's intimidating, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's just a laser light show for the most part. You have nothing to fear. Those things are not going to hit you because they have no tracking at all on them. So
Right.
it's just up to the really, really weird physics of the Destiny engine. Let's see. The weapon that I was most surprised about. Super good advice. Because
Yeah.
yeah. So basically the change to it was, you know how you could fire it in the air wildly and it had like a 90% chance to return that ammo. So you could just indefinitely fire it. The change that came was it now they reduced that chance by about 20%, which is still really high. And then when you hit something, it has a chance to transfer a round from your reserve into the magazine. That chance is like 100%. So I have a clip where I started with 2 rounds in the magazine and then proceeded to refill my magazine by just hitting the target. And I started with 2 rounds in the mag. So effectively, as long as you hit a shot, your magazine size is the entire magazine plus reserve of the weapon.
So what's this thing good for?
How
now?
big? How big is the mag size though? Sorry,
I think
right.
total, like without any upgrades, 144 rounds. So and then with machine gun, I think it goes up to 200. Yeah, 200.
So it's decent, consistent DPS.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much,
actually really
It's not
consistent
bad at
DPS.
all,
it's
dude.
really good for strikes. The big question is,
Good for
can we
strike.
use it against Golgoroth? I tested it. Sad to say, the super good advice did 375,000 damage to Golgoroth with the full reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Black Spindle did 1.3 million.
Like, yeah, a million. Yeah, it usually does around a million.
Yeah. So
That's a big difference.
I mean, Black Spindle is just
Black Spindle
can't-
that was the fight it was designed for. I feel like super good advice. That was the fight it was designed for as well. So maybe it needs a little help in PvP and to knock it up.
Well, did you test? You test the sisters?
No,
Because I wonder if it's better than
no.
Touch
It'd be
Mouse.
horrible. The recoil and range are wildly
hit
too
anything.
inconsistent.
But what if you're like up on that pillar though?
Still no.
Or on the steps?
Just touch a
Yeah, nothing.
mouse. That's what you should
That's
use.
too bad. How about in PvP? Did you check it out in PvP?
I didn't check it out in PvP. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I want to use it in PvP now because you can just, if you miss a shot, it's probably going to refund it, and then
Right.
Yeah.
If you hit a shot, it'll take it from
It'll
your
take it
so
from
you don't have to
yeah.
reload.
yeah,
Reloading
I
a
like
machine gun in the middle of a match is kind of a pain in the
it.
ass.
So you're gonna get so many machine lord medals with that thing, and the recoil in the original Taken King update got updated as well, so it's a lot easier to control. And I remember in my initial review, I was like, "Yeah, this thing it does damage when you hit something with it. Too bad you can't hit anything with it because it just sprays
Right,
everywhere."
yeah. It was like so niche. I'm hoping that it's an exotic. I'd like to be able to use it sometimes.
Exactly. So yeah, I really like super good advice.
Yep.
Some of the other armor things that came in.
Ontario.
The Armentarium. I got to. I was thinking I'm gonna go Striker on my Titan
Yeah.
this week. I after we had the Phantom podcast, I was like, wait, no, I'm gonna go double magnetic grenade and play really aggressive. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Like people don't expect it. Like, oh, he's a defender. What's he gonna do? Charge in at us? That's exactly what I did. I charged in at the group of them, drop a bubble right on their faces, and toss grenades into their faces. So I entered the room, toss grenade, pop bubble, toss grenade, toss grenade. It was brilliant. It was
Yeah.
so much fun. I'm sure the other team was
Nice.
raging, but whatever.
Probably they do.
And do you spawn with it also? Do you spawn with it?
Yeah, you spawn with double grenades.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on.
It's kind of good.
If you haven't tried the last word yet,
Last word is good. Last word. It doesn't feel like the scout rifle it felt like in year one though.
No.
Like that gun was broken with the long range.
Scout rifle.
Like
yeah.
you could headshot people across the map and 3-shot kill them.
Yeah.
2-shot kill them. 2-shot kill them.
2-shot kill. Sorry, my bad.
Still got. Again, I think that range stat is semi-deceptive. You still can't you obviously can't range people, but you kind of can. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that I think I would say give it like maybe a month or two. People are going to clamor for a bit of a nerf on that again. I don't know. I just feel like the last word is one of those weapons that just wasn't properly designed.
Basically, right now, if you were someone who just really wanted to play with a shotgun and just ran around with a shotgun and would charge people with a shotgun, you're probably having a tough time because of the shotgun changes. It's okay. Get your last word out. You're good. Just replace shotgun with last word.
Still fine.
All right, gentlemen. I think I need to call this a podcast on my part, and I'm going to cut out.
All right,
Just
Pope,
gonna
good
leave
luck.
us
He has
like
to
that,
leave.
dude? Like,
Well, that's what happens when we have to record a Phantom podcast, and
yeah, like seriously, Tefty, like
It's
unbelievable.
I mean, Tefty, if you just
Blaming it
make
on
sure
me.
you're recording.
Hefty.
Oh my gosh.
you make sure you were
Nah,
recording
that's-
Wally's audio.
Yeah.
My bad, yo. My bad.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Pope, later, man.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Later, Pope.
See you later, Pope.
Great podcast as always.
But
Yeah.
continuing with the weapon changes, I'm actually using a hand cannon right now. I'm using the Down and Doubt with it's got Grenadier and Firefly.
Burn it.
Dude, no, dude, it's the perk setup on this is actually
No, Down and
pretty
Doubt is
satisfying.
trash.
No, you're wrong,
it's trash.
Patrick.
Tell me what that
No,
range
it's-
stat is. Tell me what that range stat is on yours.
I don't, but like you don't. I don't use my hand cannons to range people. You know what I mean? Like in PVE, I'm not playing PvP with it. I'm not gonna go that far. But like Firefly and a hand cannon with Grenadier, it's very very
Yeah, it's
useful.
not bad. I just like my hand cannons to be able to hit something outside of sidearm range.
The
You know,
hand
it's-
cannons
I think
did
it's
get
one of those
a
things
buff,
that's-
though. I mean, it's much easier to use them.
It's so much easier to
Yeah.
aim down sight to use them. I have
Yeah.
the weapon, the gunsmith. That's it. That's the guy. He sold a hand cannon, 2 hand cannons last week that had outlaw and luck in the chamber on them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
then.
and then
Definitely.
both of them had range increased stats. So it's really, really good you can 2-shot people with it effectively. and since it has
Oh, that's
seven,
bullshit.
it has seven in the mag,
right?
7 in the mag.
I bet it feels
You're
good
doing that,
to cheat.
Yep, completely.
That might as well be luck in the chamber, as far as I'm concerned.
A buddy of mine got the Imago loop with Firefly and
Oh,
Outlaw.
he got the
Oh,
roll.
It's like
He got the roll.
Wow.
You got it. Yeah.
low key Fatebringer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, he got it. Wow.
So I was pretty. I was a little jealous.
I'd be pretty jealous too.
I don't know. I think the big thing about weapons in general is that the AR patch, I think, deceived a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well,
and sort of upset.
It
a
didn't
lot
really
of people,
deceive.
too.
It didn't deceive anyone. It was not reported properly. So we believe
So
that that Monte Carlo archetype rifles were going to get a 7% upgrade. We thought Doctrine of Passing 4%. We thought the slowest rated fire one was going to get, I think, a 4% as well. And it turns out it was a 0.07% and a 0.04%, which translates into no visible change.
Nothing. So why do that? That's my question. I think that's a question that I saw at least a couple times on Twitter timeline was like why did they patch it at all?
There were
You
a
know what
lot
I
of
mean?
really
Why
good
did they
comments
take
where
the
it's
time
like,
to do
yes,
that?
it does yield an upgrade after I think
they
50
explain
rounds.
it in the yeah.
50 rounds, it will
But
give you
it's
one
like-
more damage. What? That the thing that perplexes me about this is not that, yes, I completely agree, a 0.04% damage upgrade is still a damage upgrade. The thing is, they worded it like, we feel like auto rifles could be a little bit more competitive. With this change, they will be more competitive. And when I read that change, I said, that'll even make them more competitive. That'll probably make them a little bit too strong, but that'll make them
But that was
competitive.
also written with the thinking that it was good, like a 7% increase.
Exactly. So it was like, they're going to be more competitive. Okay, and then this change, if there's no visible change.
All right, so the
At all.
explanation, let's talk about this, right? Is like,
Yes.
here's what happened,
Yeah.
is that a month ago, we got the patch notes, or we got what the release was going to be for the weapon changes. And in that, the auto rifles were getting a huge boost, the pulse rifles were getting pulled back in a big way. When the game actually came out, when Update 2.1 came out, the auto rifles didn't seem to have any change at all. So people were questioning it, like, well, what happened? Is it a bug? Did they lie? What's going on here? And then they, with the weekly update, they came out and said, look, here's what happened. They said, hey, it was a mistake. I wrote this patch note with old information. I'm sorry that it made it for a month being old information. That's a mistake on our end. They apologized.
Yes.
It was a
I
mistake.
actually thought he said that it was placeholder information.
The people who were releasing that information were not the same people who were actually programming it.
Correct.
And there was not proper communication between those two groups of people. That's what happened. And unfortunately, that communication didn't get any better for a month until the community said, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what happened.
Clearly
The
wrong.
thing that
Yeah.
really sucks about it is, well, auto rifles are pretty much unchanged. Let's just call it what it is. They're unchanged. Pulse rifles got hit pretty. We knew pulse rifles were going to get a nerf. I really feel like the medium rate of fire and fast rate of fire ones are in a good place right now. Like they feel balanced for the most part. Unfortunately, they misreported what was going to happen to the lowest rate of fire ones, like the Ludmilla, the Spare Change, those types. Those got close to a 14.9% damage reduction. That will allow them to kill in the same amount of bursts as the faster archetype. So it's a slower
Pulse
time
rifles
to
are
kill
funny,
no
though.
matter what.
They're always going to be harder to balance than other weapons
Yes.
because they're doing 3-round bursts. You have to figure out time to kill, but it's always going to be segmented. Your time to kill is either going to be 2 bursts or 3 bursts, right? And if it's you can only adjust it that much. So eventually they're going to have to say, well, if we want to have this set of time to kill across all the weapon types, then guess what? These ones just are going to be longer because otherwise they're too fast and they're clearly the best weapon.
I mean, I get the whole pulse rifle drop back, like Hawksaw, Rampancy, and everything like that.
Yeah.
Personally, though, I've been using pulse rifles since vanilla, and when the change came around, pulse rifles definitely were more powerful, but I don't think that the dropbacks are going to change or going to stop me from using them. I feel like pulse rifles and scout rifles are still the most skilled weapons in terms of what you can use.
I still say my Hawksaw is a beast. Like it still kills
good.
very quickly.
Yeah.
But
you
now
have to
the
focus
difference
more
is
on
that
precision
auto
shots.
rifles can also compete.
Yes.
They can be nice.
I did.
Auto rifles didn't get the buff we were expecting, but because pulse rifles got pulled back, they feel more powerful in comparison,
Yeah.
and it makes them much more usable. I could go in there with Monte Carlo and win gunfights if I'm more accurate than a guy with a Hawksaw.
I can tell you,
I can do
And that's the way it always should be.
That's exactly
Always
how it should
that
be.
way.
Yeah.
if the patch had gone through with those original buffs on auto rifles, they'd be too strong. They would be entirely too strong.
They would be the new meta.
Yeah, they would be the new meta. I went in with, I did an entire trials passage with my Doctrine of Passing, the counterbalance persistence one with brace frame, and I was outslaying people that had Hawksaw, that had Mida Multi-Tool, that were using Hawkmoon, that could still technically two-shot me.
Yeah, I saw you doing that. I think it looks disgusting.
I think it's badass.
filthy.
Holy
It is
moly,
filthy.
Yeah.
It's probably the best, one of the best PvP auto rifles in the game right now, and I can say that very
Yeah, I gotta get my
confidently.
hands on that. Does that apply to the meta for the other high rate of fire ARs?
It's just that one with counterbalance on it, because it
That one's
allows
just
you
accurate.
to, instead of hose bullets like spray them, it allows you to finally like accurately
do it.
do it. Because on the stream, about over half my shots are precision shots with that auto rifle.
Mhm.
So I'm hitting him for 15 to 16 damage in the head, depending on range, or 11 to 12,
Right.
or like I think it's 10 to 11 to the body. So I am dropping them very quickly.
I gotta
Solid.
say, like, I know we're only like 4 or 5 days into this new meta, but to me, primary weapon wise, it feels like the most balanced meta we've had so far.
Definitely.
I feel like I could get in there with
Yeah.
hand cannons, pulse rifles,
I'd say
scout
so, too.
rifles,
I
or
used-
auto rifles and succeed.
I used everything to success, and I mean, I usually do that anyway, but this time it really felt like I was battling all these other things, and it was great. Instead of I'm only battling against pulse rifles, or I'm only battling against hand cannons. It's
Right.
I was able to do it and feel comfortable about everything else that's going up against me. I didn't feel like I was fighting against it. Everything felt like it was on
Some
equal
weapons
ground.
are going to be better than others, like the Doctrine of Passing, but no class right now feels like it's far superior to any other class.
Correct.
Yep.
And I think that's what we've been waiting for. This is the first time we've had that,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
Yeah, I agree. I was disappointed about the auto rifles not getting that buff, but then after seeing how things have played out, I'm actually really happy that didn't happen. Otherwise, we'd
Yeah.
be complaining about auto rifles.
Yeah. It would be. We'd be back to an auto rifle world.
That endless cycle of nerf this, patch this, nerf this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they're getting better and better every time, to a certain respect,
Yep.
making PvP weaponry balanced, which is great.
Yeah, and again, they
Fantastic.
separated
Feels that way.
pulse rifles between PvP and PvE. They nerfed them in PvP, but actually gave them 5% more damage in
Yep.
PvE.
Yep. I do want to move on to some of the basically Titans also got a really
Oh,
big
you don't
buff.
want to talk about shotguns while we're on weapons?
Well, I mean, I don't use shotguns, so I don't know. You guys go talk amongst yourselves about shotguns.
They're still good. They're still good. You can still get
Yeah, they're
shit
still
done
good.
with shotguns. They feel a little bit slower, but it's a hair, and it may be like a what do you call it when there's no real measurable effect, but you feel it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The weapon. I think Pope said it. The weapons are heavier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
now?
they feel heavier.
feel
More
heavier.
Yeah.
substantial.
And the range
Yeah.
does not seem as ridiculous. When I don't feel like I'm getting cross map shot or cross room shot with a shotgun when I'm still aiming down sight with my primary, and this guy comes and hit
Right.
fires me from across the room with a shotgun. I don't see that happening anymore.
That kind of is a bummer sometimes when you're streaming. And like if you get a sweet like group of kills, and then like you see that one dude in chat, it's like, well, you're using a shotgun, Wally. Like, how good are you? You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
I still get that with sniper rifles too. It's like, oh, you're
that's because of aim
oh,
assist.
totally.
You know what I mean? Yeah. a lot of people are becoming, I think, more, I guess, aware of how stats work, or
well,
just
they're
reading
becoming
up on
aware of
information.
the stat. They're not becoming aware of how exactly it works. I feel like that's the
Right.
big distinction there.
The shotguns are always a hard thing to balance in any game, because
Yeah.
because you're gonna have shotgun users, and people love using them for any reason, but at the same time you got to make sure that they're not super powerful, but they're powerful in their own little range. And where is that range? That's different in every game.
Yep.
It feels good. I think it feels good right where it's at. Like I feel like if you're crafty, you can still get a kill with a shotgun. But if if you know that shotgun's coming, he can't just cross map kill you with hip fire.
Mhm.
right.
It feels.
I just
right.
think the biggest problem right now for secondaries is that you really only have a choice between two: sniper and you can use the sidearm.
I actually
too,
did an entire trials passage only using sidearm yesterday.
Yeah, like sidearms are definitely very
that
powerful.
map in particular is very sidearm friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
they actually, Wally, the biggest problem with secondaries right now is map design.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Because there's
I
no
just
reason
like
not to use like either a sidearm or a shotgun unless you want to just snipe.
Mhm. But then fusions just don't have like when have you seen a fusion being used in the game?
I use them.
Ever.
I've been using my FR4 and I like it. Now that shotguns have less range, there's more room for me to, get that thing charged up and fire.
I don't know. I just feel like fusions are still kind of lacking. They've been lacking for a very long
Yeah,
time.
they're not high
Ever
on
since
that,
their
I guess.
initial neutering, they have not regrown anything substantial.
Neutering.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Ever since they
Ever since
originally
they lost
got
their
nerfed,
balls.
like you didn't see them anymore outside of
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
The Plan
They're
C
done.
was always good.
Well, Plan-
it didn't matter how much they tried to fuck with fusion rifles.
Yeah,
that thing was
Plan
just a
C was
monster.
Plan C was the Rocket Gibraltar. That thing didn't move. It was always
Yeah.
a decent
So-
weapon.
But I think the big problem is map design. That is
Map
100%
design is
fair.
a hallmark problem of why we see so much complaints about shotguns.
Just because the maps are
And,
just
snipers.
corner
and
friendly and nonsensical.
I feel like a lot of the complaints that come from snipers are also from map design. So
Well,
Yeah.
you can just hard scope
Oh, yeah.
corners with snipers, and like that. Like I do it, so I'm not going to sit there and say that I
Yeah,
don't.
I do it.
that all the time. But yeah, again, I think the way specials are utilized have to change to some respect. Maybe I like the Inferno mode, the way they do specials. You don't start with them. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I
You
love
shouldn't-
that. Oh my
Yeah, you
god.
shouldn't start with special. They should be power weapons, like Halo in a way. Like you had to go get them, so you have to go get ammo for them. You can't just be like, well, today and every match from now on, I'm just gonna pull out my sidearm or my shotgun or my sniper and just use that.
Oh, the worst is when they put ammo in the sniping lanes.
oh yeah, you never have to move. Thank you,
What's that-
Pantheon. Thank you.
Yeah, Pantheon. That's the one I was thinking of. Like they put the fucking ammo right there.
You never have to
Yeah,
move.
that's so counterproductive.
So obviously the Sunbreakers got some changes. Tefty and Briar, you guys.
Hashtag bring the hammers back.
Oh boy, that's gonna get well received for sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah, have fun with that, Briar. So seriously though, like Hammer Titans, they needed to be addressed, and
It feels like you're still powerful when you have a Sunbreaker super. Like you're still powerful. You can still get a lot of kills. What you can't do is just run into a room and start flinging hammers every which way and expect them to home in and get kills. You used to be able to throw a hammer and you could turn away, just know that thing was going to hit. And you didn't have to worry about anybody shooting you because while that thing hit, you got your health back and it didn't matter anyway because you had like so much more health than you possibly could need.
Yeah.
You know what this sounds like? It just sounds like you guys couldn't handle Titans being good, dude. That's what it is.
I handled it fine. I was a Titan.
No, I mean that was like kind of the community response to the nerf.
that was
and
some
really
of
the
the
complaint.
community. I think the majority of the community realizes, yes, they were powerful. They needed to be addressed. There are some people who
Yeah.
are stalwart defenders of the Sunbreaker subclass that kind of refuse
The
to
lag of
acknowledge it,
soul.
Lag of
They
soul.
feel right now is having that 3-second delay on getting your health back, cauterized.
Yeah.
Thank you. The pullback on the range, the heat seeking ability of the hammers feels about right. They took away some of the OP-ness, but it still feels good. It still feels like it's fun to use, and I think they left that alone, and that feels good. They also made the strikers fucking awesome.
Yeah, Striker's really powerful.
Yeah.
Striker's got like a huge buff,
Yeah.
and I think that was to maybe. And it's not like the buff is not warranted. I don't think the Strikers were in the wrong place, but now Strikers are just going to be.
I think this was
much
this is a
more
good
agile.
opportunity to address them because they needed a little something. Both Defender and Striker needed a little bit something extra. And
Yeah.
if they had just if they had just nerfed Sunbreaker without acknowledging the fact that the other two Titan subclasses are frankly subpar to everything else, that would have been
Striker feels like it's a fresh class. It's like you're freshly discovering what you can do with it now because, you combine that class with a bite of multi-tool right now, and you are fast. You're Titan skating around. You are super quick. And you can come in there, like in the heavy round today, I was just having fun because people were coming in and like playing the sniper game with the heavy. I'm like, no. I'm just going to run at you. And before you can do anything about it, I'm just going to smash you. And that was fun.
That strafe speed is really useful too.
Yeah.
Like you originally used to be able to see it on like really high agility hunters. like I would struggle, and I'm like not like the greatest PvP player, but I would struggle hitting some of those guys because of that left-right strafe speed was so damn fast. I used to main Titan back in Vanilla and Dark Below, and then I became a Warlock, but I've definitely been going back and playing more Titan. It's enjoyable. I definitely agree. I think Defender, I don't know, maybe I feel like Defender still is kind of lacking.
It's so good in PvE, though. It's so good in PvE.
Yeah.
It has its place.
It's always been in a good spot
It's a PvE subclass. However, I was talking earlier about the Defender subclass, and it is so much fun in PvP now. If you like combine it with,
I think that's mainly
Armorium,
you're shocking people with that, though, right? It's like that's not. If people were aware of that playstyle, I think they'd get used to it.
It's hard to honestly.
People are so surprised.
It's kind of hard to counter, or it's not hard to counter, but you don't really know what to do when a Titan comes in and just pops a bubble right in between all your friends, or pops a bubble on top of the guy he just killed. What are you gonna do about it? That's right.
Walk away.
That's true.
You gotta go the other way.
Yeah, you run
And
away.
then you automatically have another magnetic grenade.
Yeah, and the change that came is when you pop your bubble, it automatically refills your grenade and melee energy. So if you're running Armamentarium,
that is.
it doesn't refill both grenades. It only refills one charge of the grenade, but still, if you only
And
use
then they
one
could have
grenade
that
before-
shotgun that never runs out of ammo in there. You
I
don't
ran
want to go in that
Blessing of Light
bubble.
because you have to kind of run out of it to toss the grenades anyway. So I was just like, we'll run Blessing of Light and then just refresh Blessing every time I'm running in and out.
The big thing for me really is I just feel like it's obviously a defender class, so I want it to have offensive abilities. But to be fair, it's not going to get those.
It's in the name. It should be more about
Should
defensive.
be a
Like
defender.
I'm not setting up a defensive position. I'm setting up a forward operations base when I go pop my bubble. that my friends can now come in, and now they have a little buff they can run out in. I have some some more bombs I can throw out with my grenades. It's fantastic. If someone wants to get a little cheeky and come in there, I have a charged disintegrate I can just hit them with. We're good. We're good.
Mm-hmm. And then
That's
have you guys
the other
tried?
thing is their melees are so much better now.
Well,
melee
you
buff.
get that increase.
Not a
range.
bad-
Yeah,
not a
and
hell
the
of a lot
striker
better,
just
but
got
it's-
power.
Yeah.
Striker just
actually
got more
punch.
power.
Yeah.
Like it's good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that I guess everyone's preference is a little bit different. I obviously want everything to be awesome, but you would lose out on balance at that point. So it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like,
Speaking of love, you guys want to do
No.
some Twitter questions?
Yes.
All right. The first one. The name is Royal at CRoyal44 says, "Do you think Hawkmoon should have been nerfed as hard as it was?"
was it nerfed
It
that hard?
was a
though?
20
Like,
range stat nerf, and that's pretty substantial now, considering that that 20 extra range really made it strong. However, I completely understand that range stat probably was the thing that was making it leaps and bounds better than any other hand cannon out there. So I understand the nerf. I think it was a little bit too heavy-handed. Maybe only 10 would have been fine.
I gotta use hand cannons more, man, because I don't use them.
Yeah, you should try
as
using
much.
Hawkmoon now that you can
I think-
actually use it on Xbox.
I did, and it surprisingly, Patrick, the Hawkmoon's been out for a little bit longer than you think on the Xbox. Okay? So, I'm in the exclusivity stuff, like just to make that point. I know I know some people were like, I put out a very sarcastic tweet on Twitter regarding the exclusivity for Iron Banner. Like, I'm only playing half a game. I'm gonna watch you guys get the Iron Banner gear. I think again, it's one of those things that like only operates as a dividing factor in the community more so than anything else.
We talked about it in the fandom podcast, and I think we all came in agreement that look, exclusivity, okay, but this whole year-long thing is
It's too long.
It's too much.
A whole year, weapon bounce happens like multiple times, and then the weapons change. Like the Jade Rabbit is going to be slightly different when it comes to Xbox.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
I forgot that was even a gun, dude.
I mean, we had the Hawkmoon. People were using that as their raid primary a lot during year one.
That's
And,
all
like,
Dado
it's just
used.
not a
year
thing
one.
now.
Yeah, that was his answer. Was
Yeah.
Hawkman.
Always
Yeah.
Hawkmoon.
For everything.
I want to see Dado go on Jeopardy and just for every single question.
Hawkmoon.
What is
What is
the
Hawkmoon?
I think Trebek would be okay with it.
You are correct.
To be honest.
He's like,
You know
correct.
what? That is the answer, Dado. That is the answer.
That is correct. Nwag at Northwest
yes.
Hansen says, "How satisfied are you with the recently added exotics?"
I like it. I wish we could get more of the stuff that's currently in the database, aka all those boots. I want those boots and gloves. Give me the boots.
I'm glad Bones of EO came back, though,
yes.
man. Like, real glad. I like them, too. I think they did a better job designing the exotics this time around than they did in year one. I feel like they're better. A lot of them are better than legendary guns, but they're not so overpowered that they just outclass everything. I just think, they feel unique, they feel cool, but they're not like you have to use it to succeed.
Yeah,
I think they did a good job in that way.
Well, I think they're moving towards more supplementing your playstyle than anything else. Like Skyburners is pretty good. Like, oh, you like using heavy weapons? Sweet, we're gonna make you drop orbs, and then hey, if you want to use
I'm not
special
gonna lie,
too,
I've never even looked at what Skyburners Annex does.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm trying to test the build right now to see if it's viable with Dragon's Breath and the whole deniability thing. So anytime you get a heavy weapon kill, you have a chance to create an orb, which is semi interesting.
Yeah,
I don't. I
but
prefer a machine gun for that.
Right, but it's more interesting when you combine it with say everything that the Voidwalker already does. So you have the smoke nades, you have the void wall grenades or the vortex grenades, and then you have tether. Right, those are all in a way AOE abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all sort of trying to complement each other. I think there's a lot of uniqueness in terms of what the exotics do now, as opposed to hey, here's 2 extra grenades.
The Skyburners Annex is a weird exotic.
The
way it transfers orbs to special ammo is very bizarre, and it seems like it should come in handy at sometimes, but then sometimes you want that to turn it into super that you hold on to for the next round of damage or something, So you got to get used to it. It's weird.
Yeah, it actually came in really handy when we were doing the raid for the first time for normal, because I would run out of special ammo because of being low light.
Yeah,
and then the Skyburners Annex was great. I just go pick up some of those orbs that were being generated, and boom, I got my special ammo. And I could switch it on and off, or switch helmets if I need to conserve that.
The only thing is it continues to pick the stuff up. It continues to pick those orbs up. So you have to avoid them if you're full on, because sometimes you want those to be there for you for the next super.
Yeah.
So it's a little. You got to kind of adjust your way of playing a little bit with it.
I do.
It's a different type of exotic.
Alchemist Remnant with on the Warlock Stormcaller class. Use that with I think it's Transcendence. This is the one where if you have your melee and grenade charged, you have a longer super. Mm-hmm. So when you combine those together, you use those extra orbs on the ground to fuel your melee recharge and your grenade recharge, so that when you activate your super, it lasts longer. So it's a direct complement of that ability.
Yeah.
So, there's the uniqueness there that I think opens up a couple doors that, maybe not everyone's going to do, but if you want to try some new things out, you have the option.
I like that kind of thing. I like the way it makes you think, it gets you thinking analytically about your build, and that's fun.
Yes.
Yeah, that is fun.
I'm good for that.
Daniel Stone at Daniel Stone Drum says, did Briar get a helmet yet? I got 3 normal mode helmets, but no hard mode helmet, and I'm not salty about it at all. I'm about as pissed about it as Holtzman is about getting no snipers.
Oh, Jesus, dude. I'm sorry for you. You need to go to the hospital and get your heart checked. So I do that every morning.
I do 3 raids a week. I can't believe it hasn't dropped for me yet. Hopefully next week with the challenge.
I keep a defibrillator right by, so I'm just shit, I can feel another one coming on. Let's just
life alert.
Life alert.
You just get those pads.
I got a havoc pigeon and I can't get up.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Alec Hole at Fancy Fox says, how many sparrows are needed to unlock the year 2 Galahorn?
All of them.
You gotta collect all the legendaries.
Just over 9,000.
Yeah, you need Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, and then the peak one I think is Clefairy. So you need all of those.
It's Ho-Ho. Okay, it's Ho-Ho.
Right? Yeah. Ho-Ho.
Jesus. Get out of here with your weak Pokemon knowledge.
I was a sucker. As much as I hate microtransactions, I bought into them.
Maybe that's why you hate them so much, just because you're a sucker.
I do, because they make me buy them.
Oh my god!
I'm an impulsive buyer. I can't stop. I have a problem, man.
How much money did you spend on Sparrows?
Decline to state.
Damn, son.
Yeah, we heard about that in the Phantom Pack.
Yeah, we know.
I will keep that information tucked away.
Please keep that private.
It'll be private.
Yeah, thank you,
It'll
guys.
be private.
Can I ask
Don't
this
worry.
guys a
Confidential.
question?
Just tweet at me at Teft, and you'll get that info.
Yeah, right.
I'm looking up.
Can I ask you guys a
billboards.
question? Do you guys still feel compelled to like kind of collect everything in Destiny?
No.
No, not.
Yeah, not like it did in year one.
I did until the Taken King, but I gave that ghost up in the Taken King. I was like, there's too much of it, and some of it just is not useful enough for the investment it takes. I could see if you're new to the game, definitely like still feeling that, but like the sparrows, the emotes, like I'm not going to collect them all because they cost money.
I was really excited to collect everything in year one because it was year one, and then suddenly when year one became irrelevant with Taken King,
Yeah.
I've lost a lot of that urge to be like, "Ooh, I got to make sure I get everything because then it's going to be possibly useful in the future."
It's like having
it's not.
It's like having a giant DVD collection, and then Blu-ray comes out, and you're like, I'm not going to collect Blu-rays because the next thing's going to fucking come out, and then I'm going to throw all those away too.
That's exactly right. That's a great example, actually.
VHS, baby.
Still rocking the Betamax.
I got my laser disc. Oh, y'all can.
The Betamax.
Jordan Brown.
Well, there's so much stuff now too, though. You know,
there
like
is. Tons.
There's not enough
I think,
inventory space to actually play the game.
There's
plus
not.
collect
That's
stuff.
another thing too. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But they did increase vault space a couple patches ago. You know what I mean? And that
If
is
they
nice.
had
I
it,
filled
they
that up
could've
in
had
like
that
2
vault
days.
space.
It was like my everything in my inventory like went boom and doubled. It was like crazy. That vault got immediately filled.
I mean, I got rid of a bunch of stuff though. You know, like because of its lack of usefulness.
Yeah, I just started getting rid of old raid armor from the.
I'm only keeping
Yeah.
weapons that are
I still have old
300
radar.
plus now. Like I'm getting rid of all the blue stuff that I have because I have no need for it anymore.
Have you kept your old raid? Any of your old raid gear?
I kept my original set so I can like kind of cosplay in it. I guess if I ever want.
Yeah, cosplay, baby. Yo, I'll cosplay with you, Pat.
Like that's all I kept.
Represent.
That's all I kept was my original set for my
Yeah.
hunter, and then I kept
The first
I kept
to go
the
was
furry
Prison
thing.
of Elders for me. Now the Dark Below stuff is going, but I still have the Vault of Glass stuff.
Okay.
Well, PoE never got a unique set
No,
of gear,
it did.
right?
It did.
Yeah,
It
you had
did?
to buy it
You
for
remember
it.
that Titan
armor?
helmet with the wings on it?
It
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave stuff. They gave stuff to like so you would have like faster grenade cooldowns and crap like that when you're fighting Cabal or whatever.
Remember, there were
Yeah.
like 12 different
It was so
possible
specific.
sets because they were like faster grenade when fighting Cabal,
Oh,
or more energy when
oh,
fighting
yeah, I
Cabal,
remember.
agility when fighting Cabal. There were like 3 different buffs for each possible
Yeah.
race that you were fighting. It was stupid.
You're right.
It was
You're right,
dumb.
you're right. I think the reason I don't remember it is because I never
'Cause it
collected
sucked.
it.
Well, there was never a point
Yeah.
because everyone was like, "Oh yeah, no, it helps so much." Okay, I'm already able to do the fight, in under 5 minutes, with just my
Yeah.
normal set. I don't need that other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't there supposed to be a Queen's Guard set too that never came out?
I don't know.
There's a Queen's Guard class item that you can get. That's the only benefit that you get from ranking up Petra, by the way, because I used all my etheric lights, and I ranked it. I ranked her up, I think 6 or 7 times, and I
You had that much?
had
Holy crap, dude.
150, I think.
I only had like 80. Or no, 18.
Like 100. I had like
I still have
118.
a chest piece
it?
from the original Queen event, like way back.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any of that
OG.
stuff. Damn.
And there's a ship
That
and
is OG.
Mhm.
still floating around that I see every once in a while from
There's
that
the
too. And
Supremacy,
the sniper rifle was good. Yeah. All right, next question. Jordan Brown at this Jordan Brown. What does at Holtzman PD think of the changes to the first curse?
I actually really like them. In the right circumstances in PvP, it's actually really strong. Using first curse and a sidearm is really good because sometimes you'll hit like 2 body shots and be like, ah, crap, and just you can't get that third shot oftentimes, then you need to switch to sidearms, just start spamming.
All right, this is the big one. This is the one that we got a little heated about in the first podcast. So we're gonna read this one again.
Not me. I was cheering. I was cheering Pat on the whole time. My foam hands, pom pom. I was there. I was in the moment.
Galactic Eclipse at Galactic Eclipse. Why does at Holtzman keep saying that snipers are not affected by bullet magnetism, even though high aim assist snipers are easier to use than lower aim assist ones?
There's
Why?
a second part of that tweet, isn't there?
Yeah, I was just holding on to it, keeping that one in my pocket.
Just go ahead and say it. Just go ahead and say it.
All right, hidden hand snipers versus non-hidden hand snipers is easier to use, Patrick. Fact.
Okay.
Yeah,
Period.
fact, Patrick. Boom! Boom, baby! Woo!
This is a valid question, even though he's kind of attacking me in it. There's a really big misconception out there, so I understand. I understand this. Go watch the aim assist video I did a while back. Very clearly, we show that sniper rifles are not affected by bullet magnetism in the way that you're talking about. The magnetism that you're talking about is when a bullet kind of curves, like we see with primary weapons. It's very visible with hand cannons, Vex Mytho class, like when you're trying to shoot at a Cabal and you shoot at their hand and it hits their shield because it's trying to hit their head. That's the bullet magnetism that I am assuming you're going to talk about, because that's the only thing that I think you can really talk about right here. So, sniper rifles. We have determined time and time again, and we showed it in the video too, that aim assistance, when we increase the stat, does not actually affect the magnetism. It does not cause the bullet to bend. The only thing that aim assistance will affect on sniper rifles is how sticky the sniper rifle is when you drag scope someone. So when you drag your scope over someone, how much the scope kind of slows down over them, and the rate and kind of width that it slows around, like it's going to slow down once you hit their body, or maybe ever so slightly before their body, or maybe like inside their body, and it'll speed up further away or closer to them. That's affected by aim assistance. When you are hard scoping, aim assistance is not really going to play a factor. So pretty much a 0 aim assist sniper rifle and a 60 aim assist sniper rifle are going to perform almost the same. It's going to be very difficult to tell them apart when you are hard scoping. The only time aim assistance is going to really play effect is with drag scoping. So basically those snipers that are already very good and very competent at sniping are going to gain benefit from that aim assistance.
Even a bad sniper gets benefit from aim assistance.
Okay, yes, they do get benefit from aim assistance, but a sniper that knows how to utilize that aim assistance
gets more benefit
from the guy that doesn't know what's happening.
We kind of talked about this too in the other podcast, was the idea that maybe there shouldn't be aim assist stats that change depending on what perk you put.
I can understand that.
And
I could definitely understand
it should just be set as like, hey, all snipers have 50 aim
or all
assists,
snipers have like a slightly lower one, a 30 aim assist, because I really do feel like it is going from like the 1,000-yard stare to the Arene that has a less aim assist. It's more difficult to pull those drag scopes off. It's more difficult to do that. I have to remember that, okay, this is a lower one. I'm going to have to be even quicker on pulling the trigger because it's not going to stick slightly as much. And it's maybe the equivalent of like 5 frames that I have to do that, like 5 frames out of the 24 that are in a second, or the 30 that are in a second. So it's a very minimal difference, but you do have to notice the difference there.
Yeah. I'll tell you, there is a difference between the 1,000-yard stare and the trial sniper in terms of drag.
No, there is. There is.
Like there will be times where I will go between each other, and I'll be like, and I only use the trials one now at this point, because I have a feeling aim assist is going to get tanked.
I feel like it will be addressed. It will be lowered at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be Destiny too.
But you can undoubtedly, when you're trying to drag scope shots, and like I try to do all the time too, because it is pretty effective. I'll sit there and be like, how did that not hit that guy? And then I'll go back and be like, well, I'm not using 1,000-yard stare, which is definitely a little bit different. It is noticeable.
No, it is noticeable.
A couple
but
frames.
when people say it's like it's sniper rifles with training wheels, no, it's not.
No, snipers still take some skill. I think they've gotten easier though, for sure. But they still take. I think they're up there in terms of taking skill. I don't think that any weapon really in Destiny takes like an unbelievable amount of skill to master. But
have you? Hey man, using the first curse in its original form.
Yeah, go after that imprecation.
Yeah, go use imprecation.
Well, minus that gun. Like okay, that's fair. But
all right, let's move on. Alejandro Vasquez at AL3 Andro. Do you guys think the light level or level cap will be increased in year 2? This is a pretty good question, considering we don't even know if we're getting a DLC, and that's usually when that happens.
Yeah.
Maybe, right? I think if they did like that big content patch that they're talking about, for them not to increase the barrier maybe by like 10 would maybe not work in their favor. Wasn't there released content in the database?
We
like
saw
330
some
light
exotics that were at 330 light for like a week. So we originally thought, it's like, oh, wow, the hard mode might bring it up to 330. That's a huge difference. But then they took it back down. So we might see, like, in whatever that bigger content is supposed to be coming sometime in, like, next year. So spring, I think, is when we think it's going to come out. Yeah, like, they may very well raise it by 10 light levels.
I think that's my guess. They're gonna like just bump it up a little bit.
Be okay with that.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna bring a raid, but maybe they'll bring another level of challenge in this current raid, since they're already experimenting with like a challenge mode.
Prison of babies.
I think we're going to see a higher light level getting bumped up until the next major DLC or the next major version of Destiny.
Okay.
A lot of people are going to hit 320 this week.
Yeah, with challenge modes coming out.
Yeah, it's going to happen. A lot of people are going to do it. Right now, there's a handful of people, but now it's going to be a lot of people. So people are going to be kind of like, okay, what's next? If they don't raise that light level cap, then what is next? You know, what's striving for?
It's going to be really interesting going into like, if say there's a new raid that comes out there. There's a lot of people going to be going in like full max 320 light. So it's
yeah, that's how it is with every raid though. You go in
not King's Fall. At least the very first raid of a content reset like this. It's not going to be like that. But yeah, I mean, people weren't even going to the hard mode of King's Fall with max level light because I was 310 at the time.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't.
No one in our group
for
did.
Sure. I was
no.
I was like at 304.
Yeah, I was at 306, and then pretty much everyone else is at like from 302 to 304, I think.
Yeah, I was right around there, 302-ish.
Yep.
Well, that's also another thing too, is that the max level of light doesn't really matter right now in the end game.
Unless you're trying to run the raid or something, it doesn't matter.
But even running the raid, I mean, we don't need to be 320 to defeat these challenge modes.
No,
you should be. I think it's 312 is when they stop becoming orange and turn yellow.
I mean, wouldn't that be the kicker if the Orcs challenge required 320 to successfully do it?
Just says it puts up a sign in the thing. To start this, you have to be 320.
Yeah, and Orcs is like, yeah, bitch.
Come at me,
I
bro.
think it'll be. You can't have the same chalice carrier or like a brand
I think
carrier.
That's the
every time
overwhelming opinion right now from everyone.
I mean, I think to some groups that is a challenge because I know there's people I play with that don't have any thumbs, so
It's difficult to jump.
At a 4-hour stream on Thursday, we didn't beat it.
Hey, you know what?
I've had that.
Running Relic on all three characters has taught me to appreciate all of the jumps in Destiny at this point.
At some point, I might have to put out like a jumping tutorial because there are people out there that don't know that, like on Titan or Warlock, you can hit X again while you're like swooshing or whatever. And
no, it was just that one guy. It was just that one guy.
What?
Yeah, like that's something that some people out there don't know.
The hunter I put on Bones and just do a double higher jump.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy the Bones are your two now.
I feel like this raid has taught me how to appreciate all the jumps in Destiny, and now I'm not like I'm not a jump elitist like I was before, but particular classes. Now I'm like, you know what, Warlock, let's go. I'll be a Warlock. I'll be a Hunter. I'll be a Titan. It doesn't matter. I can run Relic. I'm loving it. I'm having fun with it.
You're a jump elitist?
I was a jump elitist.
You're recovering jump elitist. I'm still firmly a jump elitist. Switching from a Titan or a Hunter to a Warlock, it just feels wrong. Like, it's just that one thing. You hit that jump button that second time, and he doesn't go higher. He just kind of drifts down like a piece of dust floating downward. It's awful. Once you get used to it, once you've done it for 15 minutes, it's fine. But the jumping puzzle is at the beginning of the raid.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
The last Mohican 9 at the Mohican 9 says, did Bungie drop the ball or did we expect too much free content?
Expect too much free content. And Bungie dropped the ball, both.
Yeah,
personally.
I think it's a complex.
I mean, just listen to the first part of the podcast. There's your answer to that question.
Yeah,
it is a very complex issue that takes over 45 to 50 minutes to answer.
And I don't know if we actually answered it, to be honest.
I mean,
like, it's not really something that you can just say, here's the...
Yeah, because we have our opinions on it. Like, I think... I'm in the I hate.
I can already see the
microtransactions
comments
camp.
now going. Wally needs
So.
to shut up about microtransactions in the YouTube comments.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'll get. I'm sure I'll get.
And
some
to be
hate.
honest
Oh,
with
it's going to be both. It's going to be both. People are
Yeah,
going to be like,
it's gonna
yeah,
be-
I'm sure, but
Wally,
that-
screw Bungie. And other people are going to be like, no, Wally, you need to shut up.
But that's it. But that, I think that's the good thing about it. You know, like I think if the more we disagree, but we keep it, you know, in the context that it's like I don't want the game to be worse for you. I want the game to be better for all of us. As long as we keep that in mind, we can have these kind of conversations and disagree with each other because that's how you get a better idea.
Yeah, it's such a, the context of the argument is so deep too that depending on which way you attack it or angle the conversation, it can almost seem like you have different viewpoints on it because it's a rough conversation and it's it pulls at you in different ways depending on what day you talk about it. Even it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Fridays are generally a better conversation.
Tyler R at Xer Joker. Do you think the mistrust between Bungie and players is warranted?
To a certain extent, yeah. Like, I think the biggest thing is not necessarily mistrust, the lack of transparency, I think is an issue. But, they're companies, so they can't tell us everything because they obviously have a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
And I think, to a certain respect, the community is also to blame with the overhype on almost everything.
Well, Bungie set expectations for what we should expect, I feel like. And, people, it's not just, people want to play the game. It's people want to have something to do with the friends they made inside Destiny. They have a raid team. They want to continue to raid with these people. And if Bungie's not introducing more content for them to do that in, those people drift away and you almost feel like you've lost friends because of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Jake Ritchie at Mr. Ritchie says, with 2 levels of RNG for hard raid gear, should a drop be guaranteed?
I think we did talk about this. Like, challenge will guarantee the drop,
It
right?
guarantees a 320 drop, I believe.
Is that the 3rd level of difficulty then, or no?
I feel like
He's only
it's
asking about-
2.5 level of difficulty.
Well, he's
Or
saying
2.2
right.
He's
level.
saying 2 levels of RNG, which means like you have the RNG involved in are you going to get a drop? Like do you want the Doom of Chelchis? There's the RNG of whether you're going to get it, and then there's a second layer of RNG on top of that, saying what level is it going to drop at.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Oh, okay. That's a tough question, man. I don't know how to answer that personally.
It is a tough question. I'm salty about not getting those helmets, but it does keep me playing. So I don't know.
They got you.
Yeah.
I
Their hooks
don't
in you,
think it
man.
needs to be guaranteed. I think it's as much as I hate not having those helmets. Also, I think it's in a good place to keep me wanting to run the raid.
Yeah.
Because if I got everything like the Dark Below with Crow's End, I'd just be like, nah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't feel like it.
Going through a whole raid though and just getting moldering shards sucks.
That
True.
does suck.
That is
That
balls.
does suck.
But it also makes it all the more sweeter when you do get that drop, though.
Mm.
Fuck that. I want my drops.
Havoc at a Barnhart 84 says, "What's the first thing you bought when the patch hit?"
Not a multi-tool.
5 of those racer toolkits.
The truth comes out. Oh man.
Patrick,
That's the truth, man.
What was the question? I was
what's the first thing you bought with a patch hit?
Mida Multitool, and then Bones of Ao, and then Dragon's Breath.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you have that much? Jeez,
Dude, I was max legendary marks, and then I had all my trials
marks.
like ones from bounties completed. So
right,
then that was another 25.
So could you play those again? Were you able to
No.
pick all those bounties
No.
up this week?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I didn't think about that until the trials came up this week. I was like, I wonder if you got locked out on that. I did the same thing, Mida Multi-Tool, then I got Dragon's Breath, and then I got about 9 exotic engrams. And I haven't had to get anything else. Agent Orange at I'm Agent Orange says, "What do you expect the trials meta to be after this patch?"
Thorn fell into slot.
No Lambion, it kills in one.
Suros
It kills in
regime.
one headshot. No, but seriously,
Fusion rifles.
Yeah, vanilla
Fusion.
Suros, baby.
Yep.
seriously
Call
though,
back.
it's like Last Word is a very strong contender. Mida, very strong contender.
Yeah.
For secondaries, it's really going to come down to playstyle, but I really feel like we're going to start seeing more snipers, but not like the people that are really good at sniping are going to stay like that. We're going to see a lot more snipers just doing the whole standing back and camping thing.
Mhm.
I feel like that's what's going to move towards, because people won't want to use shotguns because they're too slow. Sidearms don't have that extra bit of reach. Fusion rifles are they're fusion rifles, and sniper rifles are, they're a guaranteed good amount of damage if you hit with a body shot, no matter what.
Yeah. And a sniper rifle with a good primary is
Sniper
it's a
Mida.
strong combination.
Sniper Mida.
Yeah.
Or sniper last
Sniper
word.
last word.
Sniper last
word. It's a tough one to beat.
I'm not really looking forward to the last word coming back, to be honest. Like, it's a great gun, definitely, but I just have bad memories with how silly the meta was with the last word and Thorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Thorn and Last Word are like brother and sister or something. And I feel like the part of the family is coming back to where you're like, oh, you really want to invite these guys to dinner?
He always brings his fucking brother, too.
Oh my God, Thorn's going to show up eventually now.
All right, Santa's Bow at Queenbreaker's Bow. I think I messed up copying this one. With all the craziness of year 2, think back to year 1. What was one moment or one drop or just one time in Destiny that you'll never forget?
Oh yes, I remember my answer.
I forgot my answer.
Mine was getting the Galahorn from Crota on normal, and I had already spent I think it was 1,500 hours in the Xbox.
That's
and my
insane.
buddy Cowboy Gruff had more hours than me. I think 1,800 hours, and his last thing that he was trying to hold on to was getting the Galahorn before me, and then I got it in front of him, and he was just crushed, absolutely demolished. And I was giddy, and that's the moment. It was bittersweet.
That's a good moment. When the first person in our raid group got the the thing of Crota that allowed you to get the Necrochasm?
Crux.
The Crux.
The Crux.
Yeah.
He got booted out of the raid team. He got they just
Yeah.
they just fucking booted him right away. No, nothing. No explanation. He's just gone.
Just the entire experience of doing this as a job. It's no one single thing. It can't be. It's too broad of an experience.
Wally?
That's a very professional answer, Patrick. I like that, dude.
Oh yeah,
Nice cop out answer. Good job.
Uh-huh.
Running to politics, Patrick. 2016.
Yep, I got this.
You've got my vote, sir. That's all
Vote
I'm
for the
saying.
guy with the long hair.
I say my favorite moment probably was World 8th Crota Normal with my team, which surprisingly was only 3 people I knew at the time, and then we picked up 3 dudes from Australia.
Oh, so you guys lag switched to get World 8. I see.
awesome.
Yeah, that's why it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were simulating a cable pole already.
Look, man, I'm all about the win. I don't care how I do it, so there's no honor. PV.
I got a couple that I can't really separate. One is beating the Milky Sirloins, what became my raid team in the Crota fight for the first time. These guys now have my phone number. We talk all the time, and we just met off an LFG site. It was amazing. That whole journey of friendship has been amazing. Also, going into Trials of Osiris, and for the first time with Pope Bear and with Leaf from Bungie, and getting our ticket to the lighthouse and being there with a Bungie employee who had helped design it. It was just an amazing experience. So it's hard to top that one.
It's cool.
This is cool, yeah.
That's it for Twitter questions.
Yay.
I think that's it for the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, that's it
We're
for the
at
podcast.
We did it!
10
We
minutes
did it!
longer than version 1
Wow.
of the podcast.
We re-recorded
Shit,
it.
guys. I wasn't recording.
Yeah, well, that's why I was doing a backup this time, Wally.
Wally strikes again.
I'm kidding, Patrick. Okay.
Yeah.
Knee slapper.
I think Pope's main focus is keeping us more concise, because without him, we actually talk for longer than with him.
Oh, 6 whole minutes longer right now. We still miss some stuff too, but I'm not going to go into it at this point. Anyway, if you guys want to, thank you for listening. This was the 48.5th Planet Destiny podcast. This has been Patrick Casey. You can find me at PlanetDestiny.com, on the YouTubes, on the Planet Destiny Twitters, and you can find me on my personal Twitter at Holtzman_PD, where I talk about hamburgers.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me at the Briar Rabbit on Twitter. You can find me on the Briar Rabbit channel on YouTube or at your local guitar center.
I am Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. You can catch the streams that I do for Planet Destiny, twitch.tv/planet_destiny, and catch my personal streams as well, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft.
My name is Sir Wallen, and I occasionally upload videos to the internet for Planet Destiny. So,
You can also find him at your local gym, not hitting on anyone because he's hiding under a towel.
that's right. I'm getting swole, baby. No, because I respect women. That's why I don't hit on
Even
them.
though when I was listening
Okay?
to your it's like,
'Cause-
so I wanted to talk to her, but I just hid under my towel.
When you're there working
just-
out and there's an attractive
you don't
lady
wanna
next to
bother
you,
anyone.
you're like, go away. You're too good looking, man. That's my problem. So,
Oh god. Anyway, guys, that was the
Oh, my
48th
gosh.
Planet Destiny podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week.